Heard this saying recently. A rose blooms and releases fragrance. It doesn't question its deservedness. A rose just knows. Would you like to buy a copy of my book? She asked. She was 8 years old. The bazaar was teeming with booths and tables of handmade jewelry and crafted dream catchers and exotic crystals and one-on-one healing sessions of every kind, from Reiki treatments to spirit animal readings. I've always been a sucker for a craft fair, especially if the general bent is new agey. I am crystal and sage mama, always have been. I'd already pocketed a few choice purchases, knickknacks that would add to the energy and color and boho spirit of the 700-square-foot home I call my Zen cottage. I had just made the silent promise to myself, no more. You've shopped plenty now. But who says no thank you to a little girl? And a book? She didn't have a booth. I didn't see any inventory. She had just planted herself in a corner, and she's 8. I needed to see where this was going. You have a book? I asked her. Yes, I'm a writer, she offered proudly. Well, okay then. How can I possibly say no to that? How much for one of your books? That'll be $1. As I handed her a dollar bill, she proceeded to pull from her knapsack a single piece of notebook paper, folded in half. I could barely contain a giggle. The title on the cover was The Little Fairy, and it was adorned with the drawing of a stick figure sprite and some clouds and a sun. I smiled so wide at my purchase, making sure to show her my delight. And honestly, I couldn't decide if it was more precious or ballsy. So I opened the folded piece of paper to reveal the story inside. There once was a little fairy, and she loved to fly, but her wing got stuck on a rose bush and broke. Oh no, she cried. She was sad, so she went home and tried to fix it, but she couldn't. But then she knew someone who could fix her problem. Can you fix my wing? Sure. The end. What do you know? A lesson in conflict resolution. Made as simple as it truly is, if we adults could only manage to find our way around the viscous clouds that apparently go with adulthood. What a wonderful story, I said to her. I hope lots of people buy your book today. Thank you, she blushed. This was a craft fair put on by the spiritual center I belonged to, and anyone who had a craft was offered the opportunity to have a booth. It wasn't going to cost me anything, which is usually my excuse for not jumping on something. And yet I had hesitated a commitment. And then, of course, lost the opportunity because booth space was spare and quickly snatched up. I wasn't representing a single thing here today. Even though I have CDs, I have books, I've been handcrafting dream catchers myself for the past year. I sort of felt frustrated with myself that I'd had the instinct to hesitate. But, ultimately it was okay because I was just having a great time being here to support all the other artists. But this little girl, she was going to stick with me. Was it her creativity that I found so irresistible? Or her unbelievable tenacity? Her compulsion to put her unfiltered, uncomplicated, I don't need no stinking booth, carpe diem spirit, and her entitled, as in, I write, therefore I am a writer, energy into the ether. What's your name? I asked her before I walked away. Angie, she answered. No kidding. Guess what? My name is Angie too. Except that everyone calls me Angela now that I'm an adult, but look at this. We have the same name. All Angie could do was giggle. May I share something else with you? I offered. Not only do we have the same name, but I'm a writer too. Where's your book? She challenged without even a moment's pause. Well, I didn't have an answer. She just smiled and let my well hang in the awkward air, waiting for a conclusion that never came. I smiled back, wished her the world, and kept on roaming, but with my tail somewhat between my legs. I had absolutely fallen in love with this little girl's mighty chutzpah and decided that her book would have an honored place hanging on my refrigerator door behind a magnet, reminding me always. I see grace in everything. I just don't see the wisdom in not, because it is a paradigm that functions to create an environment where I always feel taken care of. And at this moment, with this encounter, grace was in full action, as I was taken care of by a young girl who taught me, in no uncertain terms, that I needn't ever question my deservedness. A rose certainly doesn't. Neither did little Angie.